Today, we're talking about buying things that are not for sale. Off-market deals. Okay, as I mentioned in the intro, we are talking about finding off-market deals, sourcing them, reaching out. Who do you reach out to? How do you get a hold of these people? If they made a movie about real estate, this would not be it. This is the most unsexy part about real estate investing. However, a lot of money can be made doing this because a lot of people just don't want to do it. So today, what I'm gonna do is give a few tips that I think might help you. Tip number one. Zero in. You can't be vague and broad when it comes to reaching out and finding off-market deals. Basically, the way I look at it is I use two types of categories. I look at the asset type, that is commercial, industrial, apartment buildings, office, single family. I look at those elements first, and then I zero in on the actual geographic area. Now, for the purposes of today, we're gonna assume we're talking about apartment buildings. However, all of these techniques can be used for other areas of commercial real estate and I guess single family as well. Although I wouldn't probably reach out to somebody's family, so maybe more of non-commercial, let's say duplex, triplex, or quads, smaller unit, non-commercial, or commercial. So we have the asset type. Now what I'm looking at is zeroing in on the geographical area. Now for me, I don't just look at the city or the town or the county, I look on the street level. I'm looking at specific areas of a town and really zeroing in on the owners of that and starting to build out from there. So start on a specific area. Usually it helps if it's an area that you know, maybe it's in your neighborhood. I start there and then I kind of move out. Number two. You found the area, you've got the asset type, now it's about finding the owners. And this is the unsexy part, and it's not easy to do. But the good news is, because it is not easy, a lot of companies and investors don't do it. Now this is the off-market bread and butter. You need to find these owners. Because the reality is, the Loopnet deals, the MLS deals, a lot of those have been picked through by investors. 9 times out of 10, you don't find that diamond in the rough. How do we find the owners? Number one, most states will have a Secretary of State website that you can find business owners on. For my Canadian viewers, there are other avenues that you can go to find corporate searches that locate titles. One of them would be Geo Warehouse and MLS in general. Now, whether in the US or Canada or elsewhere, this is often a time where you can use brokers as a resource. Now, agents aren't just gonna print you out lists of corporate searches and owners. However, what you can do is reach out to them for information about who owns certain properties. If you have a good working relationship, they might be able to help you out with that. Oftentimes, you will be able to find title to a property, but that's not the end of it there. Oftentimes, you'll get a limited company, an LLC, a corporation, and you might have John and Sons LLC. That doesn't help you a whole lot. And it's at this point where there are some online resources that you can use to find actual corporate searches that will give you the owners of the company. You can find the directors that will have their addresses, usually their home addresses, and these directories oftentimes will have their home addresses where you can reach out to them. Now, some of these resources are just paid resources. There are fairly expensive ones. I use ones like CoStar, Zoom Info. I know those aren't cheap, and oftentimes they're out of the price point for people just looking to invest as one person. However, you're in luck because you can find one-off companies that will do corporate searches for you if you have a title of a company, and those usually range from anywhere from $20 to $25 a search. Yes, it still isn't cheap, but it's a lot cheaper than spending $1,000 on subscription services. So number three, reach out effectively. So you've gone through the process. You have an area, you have an asset type, you've found the owner. Now the question is the actual reach out. This is where I think from an apartment standpoint, mailers are actually super effective. And I'm talking about specific targeted mailers. Now, I know there's some people that will say that mass mailers and mass emails oftentimes results in the same thing, but from my experience, direct mailers to individuals specifically addressed to them usually gets the best traction. The reality is 9 times out of 10, people don't want to sell their apartment buildings, but I found that the direct mailer is just a better percentage game. The other thing to mention here, oftentimes the people that own these properties, a lot of them are not exactly tech savvy. So the idea that you're gonna run out to LinkedIn or Google search them and find them and just email them, is probably not the case. So I find that the mailers are the best. You need that home address or business address. You do not want to send out mail to the building you're looking at. Who do you think that's going to go to? Probably a property manager, and probably in the trash can. Property manager, what's his or her upside of giving a note like that to the owner? Change in ownership could mean a change in his employment. Number 4, make sure that you're building a database while you're doing this. Don't let this all go to waste. So whether that's getting a complex CRM program or just putting in Excel, make sure you're building a database. Real estate is the long-term game. If you're young and in this industry, you probably think that 5 years and 10 years is the longest time, but it does fly by. And the reality is, I've seen agents in our office that are actually looking for owners to sell that have said no for 6, 7 years, and then in year 8 or year 9, all of a sudden there's a $200,000 commission. So you gotta stay on these people and build that database and reach out periodically. All right, number 5, and this is kind of a bonus tip. I've found that we have so many awesome resources today that we can reach out to give us help. That's, people that are in our industry, meetups, but more specifically here, what I'm talking about are virtual assistants. And that's basically somebody that will assist you with menial tasks, just more grunt work that you don't want to deal with. There's somebody in some area of this world that will help you with those tasks and be happy to help you with those tasks and actually be very effective. Now, in the context of real estate, but what we're talking about specifically here, I'm thinking more about title searching, the kind of going through the weeds and try to find the property owners. Once you've learned how to do it, you can teach somebody else how to do it, and they can start understanding the techniques of finding owners for buildings. And hey, once you have that, you can be the one that reaches out to them. And on the VA side, virtual assistant, you can use resources like Upwork, that's the one I like, but there's a number of them. You type a Google search virtual assistants and just look what websites are out there and see if you have had friends that have had success with certain websites and check it out. What's great about it is you do the posting of the job, you can sift through candidates and you can be very specific. You can go as granular as, I want somebody out of this state that is a native English person, or you can be as broad as you can give this job to pretty much anybody. Anyways, those are my 5 tips. I hope this video has been useful. Off-market deals, not easy to source, but the payout is huge. If you like this video, give a thumbs up. If you have any questions, please leave a comment below. If you have any suggestions for upcoming videos, again, write it down there. And if you're not subscribed, subscribe. Anyways, my name is Jesse Vergali. I'll see you next week.